Hi, I'm Paris, and online I go by parristx. But if I got myself a Yat, y.at, I could go by this. What's that, you say? You're going to go buy a slot machine payout? Well, no, these are emoji, and you can now get emoji to match you, and you can own it for eternity. So though it looks like a slot machine payout, I would actually be going by pairs. And then there's a little cowboy emoji, TX. Now, why would I want to do that? And what exactly is YAT, Y-A-T? Well, you know how some people really like emoji and get carried away with them? This is taking that to the furthest extreme. Rather than using numbers and letters for your online representation, your screen name, your handle, instead you use a series of emoji. But why? Why would you want to do that? Well, the idea is that it's new and so it's cool. But the other thinking is that, people sometimes don't know the right spelling for your username, or maybe you have a lot of people use the same, J Smith. So you have to have J Smith 2962. So this will allow everyone to have their own unique emoji combination. Do you have to pay for this? Of course you do. And how much will it cost you? Well, it depends. Now, normally, unique and exotic would be more expensive, but in the case of Yat and selling you your emoji combination and tying it to you forever, actually the more common, the more expensive it is. The reason is, I think, people will have an easier time remembering those common emoji. And the other thing that bumps the price up is if you have a pattern, like 2 or 3 of the same emoji. So the things that make it easier to remember make it more expensive. What's the cheapest emoji combination you can get? Well, I think they start at about $4. What's the most expensive? Well, I read about someone buying the emoji for rocket and the emoji for moon, and now that's theirs, and they paid $200,000 for that. So how can you own an emoji? Everybody has them on their phone, and I think there's some kind of standards organization that decides which emoji will actually go into phones and keyboards and be used. So with a Yat, you don't actually own the emoji. What you own is a registration of that series of emoji that will be recorded and tied to you for as long as that registration exists. And so the idea with Yat is they're going to put it into a blockchain, like with cryptocurrency, where there will be a forever accounting of it, and it will be locked in there so that even if the originating company that started Yat, if they go out of business, but the blockchain's still around, you will still have that registration of that particular emoji combination tying it to you. Now, since it's got the word blockchain and the tie-in with cryptocurrency, they also mention NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Since all of those buzzwords of today are tied in with the Yat and getting your emoji combination to represent you, it could catch on, but there's no certainty that it's going to. If it does catch on, then everybody's going to want theirs. If people decide, why would I want to bother with that? It will just fall by the wayside, and that guy who bought the registration of the rocket to the moon, his money will not have gone that way. It will have gone that way. So when I read an article about this and researched it some, I thought, well, that sounds cool. Who can I go to find out if this is really going to be a hot thing or not? So I went right to the source, my Gen Z kids. I said, hey, have you heard of Yat? I asked them just this morning. They said, no, what's that? I said, well, it's where you register a series of emoji to represent you, and then when anyone goes on the internet and they put in those emoji, like a website, it will take them to whatever page you link up, or your Twitter account, or a Linktree page, where basically that represents you, so people who type that in on the web will find you. I thought it sounded cool. They said, emoji for that? That sounds dumb. Okay, why is it dumb? Explain this to me. So they said, for emoji, when they use emoji in messaging, they said the emoji that they use are the ones in their recently used emoji. If you've used emoji, you probably know that your one screen is your most recently used one. So you want to send a thumbs up symbol. Well, if you send that out a lot, it'll be right there. It's easy to find and tap it, and it sends that meaning that you like. But they said if an emoji is not on that page, I don't want to have to go looking for it, because I've got to see what it is, and then I've either got to scroll over, go to the category, look through the category for it, or I've got to try to figure out the name of it so I can then type it in and it'll bring that up. They said doing that for each emoji, if somebody has 4 or 5 emoji that represent them and none of those are in your most recently used list, they said that would take so much longer than to just type in their username. So I had to admit, that did seem like a drawback, and with the emoji I used for an example for myself of the 3 pairs for pairs, well, why 3? 2 pairs is pairs and 4 pairs is pairs. So is someone actually going to remember to put in 3 pairs for my pairs? And for the TX, I chose the cowboy. But will people remember cowboy for TX? I also thought of using this y.at. Pairs, the cup of tea, and then the scissors because they look like the letter X. So it's pairs TX. Now, what's the likelihood of someone remembering that? And especially if they're trying to search for the X. You search for X, it doesn't bring up scissors. It just happens to look like scissors, but that doesn't translate. So they pretty much convinced me not to spend my money on that, though I'm still tempted to buy just one, not as an investment to sell, but just so I have one for me in case it catches on and the prices go way up. Then, I'll have gotten mine for $14 or something and I'll have it forever. In the stories I've been reading about y.at online, though, there are loads of people buying bunches of these as an investment. They're trying to get the ones that are reasonably cool. If you get, again, really short, simple ones with commonly used emoji, you'll spend a ton of money. But something a little bit longer, maybe that doesn't have quite as high a rhythm rating, because that's part of the cost is the rhythm. You can go to their website, and I'll link to it down below this video, and fiddle around putting in emoji combinations that you like, and then you'll see the rating, the rhythm rating, that reflects, in their opinion, their algorithm, how easily memorable your emoji combination will be. And if they see it as really easy to remember, you'll see that reflected in the price. Supposedly $20 million worth of y.ats have already been sold, and this whole thing just started last year. And their big coup recently is they got a fairly major web browser, not one of the big 3, but they got Opera, which is still, a lot of people know about that one. They got them to natively support it without having to put in. So if you want to go to somebody's y.at and you're in a Google Chrome, you'll have to put the y.at / and then you put the emoji. But with Opera, you can go in and put, I believe, just the emoji, and it will take you right to whatever page that's linked to. So that's pretty big. If I actually get one, I'll put a link to it down below this video in the description. And I wonder if it'll be clickable or not. Well, we'll find out. I'll see what I can do. Now, my thought was to get parristx somehow represented in emoji phonetically that would make you say that, or a representation of an element of it. But some people are picking their y.ats just based on the emotional sense of the emoji, or something that ties into their ideals, their dreams, what they represent. Here's a couple that are popular. So that got me to thinking, if I were to choose this emoji combination, not based on trying to sound like Paris or parristx, but rather to represent my essence, what would I pick? What about this? What do you think I'm going for here in representing my essence? If you have an idea, please let me know in the comments down below this video. Also, I'm curious, what few emoji would you pick to represent your essence? Now, if you're thinking of buying one, don't put it in the comments down below. You don't want someone to grab it up based on speculation of selling it to you later. But if you are never going to have anything to do with, if you have the good sense to never have anything to do with this, then I'd be curious which 3, 4, 5-ish emoji combination best represents you. I'd like to see that if you'll comment down below this video. So until next time, I'll bid you, it's farewell, and I'll see you on the next review.
There are so many choices and you don't want to stress. You want your health food at home, receiving only the best. That's what we're here for, we give honest reviews. parristx.